Hey traders, BearBullTrading here. Good morning. This is live trading for the 17th of April 2020. I'm going to be trading the RBOB gasoline futures contract. Although I will show that the whole day's trading rather than just leaving it. Obviously, there's a lot of downtime in between trades, so I will sort of chop that part out of the recording, but you will see all of the trades which you can compare to the statement when it's downloaded to the website, and you can see the total P&L at the top of this at the top of my dome. So at the moment there's no trades. As we can see, it's total P&L of 0. We haven't done anything yet this morning. It's now 9:30 New York time. Stock market just opening. I mean, I trade I look at the market from 9 o'clock, but as yet haven't done anything. At the moment, it's been sort of fairly slow, to be honest. Again, since sort of 9 o'clock. It's a Friday. We've started a new contract, so we shall see. On average, I probably get about six to 10 trades, during a normal day. I mean, at the moment, as I say, I will trade both long and short side. I don't come into the day with a bias. I don't do any prep. I don't do any sort of homework as to what I think the market's going to do. I just sort of look. Obviously, as I said yesterday, the chart is just a graphical representation of a tick by tick movement. So it's not the be all and end all of how you have your chart set up. I like to watch the dome, and I like to see how prices are fluctuating on the dome. I mean, yesterday we didn't have any losers, but to be honest, that's unusual. I take losers all the time. I think we had 7 trades yesterday. Part of that was the sort of last 3 when I was jobbing a short position around against what I had as a resistance level. I mean, the actual smart play there would have been just to have left that trade, but I needed to finish for the day. I finish at 11:30 New York time. So if I'm in a trade and it's running, then I will stay in the trade. Most of the time, but I don't know if you can hear from my voice, I'm just feeling a little bit croaky yesterday and today. So we shall see. I'm here. Hopefully we get some trades off. I mean, it looks as if we this market might want to retest the highs, but if a short comes, then that's what I'll take. So it's just a question of waiting at the moment. I mean, as per yesterday, I mean the column where I'm highlighting at the moment, that's the stop limit column on our trader. So I've put a buy stop limit in there at 69. So if we trade above 69, I will then have a limit order at 69. As I've said previously, I mean, limit orders aren't my preferred choice, I guess. For a lot of markets, I like to, because with a limit order you're relying on somebody else to get you in the trade, whereas I usually prefer to be a bit more dynamic and take responsibility myself by going to the market and buying or selling the market. But with the RBOB and EMD, it's the slippage. It's just like, okay, we're filled, we're in 69's trade. So a long one. This is what I call a scalp trade, looking for 50 51 ticks. Just, I mean, it's a sort of a net just over $200. So when I can get several of these trades a day, not that you're going to win all of them. Okay, we've stops just moved up. We've traded, so there's a little bit of leeway. I mean, the stop, if we come and get stopped out, with a bit of slippage, we might even be at break even. It's not necessarily locking any profit there. We've come down. We're pretty close to it now. But as we saw particularly well yesterday in terms of where I placed my stops, quite a few of the trades yesterday we traded to within a tick of it, but we didn't trade below it. So it's important not to, sort of, if you have a plan and you have your levels, it's not, it's important not to start, changing that whilst the trade is on. So, just see the dome here. We've got the stop and we've got the profit take. I mean, if I think we're going to get a burst through that profit take and I'm quick enough, I can sort of drag that higher. It's important. I just this market can move so quick. It can go through it. It can go 20 points through it, which is great if you can drag that out. But then it can be 30 points below it before before you've done anything manually. So quite often, I just leave it. Again, the dome, we have it set so the individual bids and offers, or the size and bids of offers at each price level isn't displayed. It's not important, and I just adjust the dome manually, drag it up and down. I mean, if depending on how the market looks, how it's acting, are we chopping around a particular price level? I mean, as we're approaching that take profit now, I think we got to 42 ticks, so we were within a few 8 ticks of it or so. I should, if I'm quick enough, I could probably actually make more money by dragging these stops tighter when it gets closer. But what I do sort of works, so it's you don't want to start messing around with your trades just for the sake of it. I mean, that changes your expectancy. So with the offer, okay, we're filled. So first trade filled, a couple of $100. As I said, that is the gross amount, to $214. So we've got to take off $5.24 for the commission. But that's trade one done. We'll just wait for the next one. I mean, it's looking pretty strong this morning, so it's we may get some more opportunities on the long side first, but as I say, I will take either. It's just a question of being patient. Okay, looking at another long here. Put stop limit order at 78.21 to go long one contract. We're just going to be trading one contract again. As I said, I mean, the danger is of using these stop limits that you don't get a fill, or with any limit order you don't get a fill, whether that's an entry or a take profit. You need somebody else to trade with you rather than you going to the market. But that's as I say, as we can see here, we're the current sort of intraday high at the moment, or just sort of short of it. So I'll need that to be taken out to to get into profit. But it doesn't bother me buying at highs or lows of the current day. So we're just waiting. I mean, if price trades through our level, but above 21, and we're not filled immediately, and it goes sort of 5, 6, 10 ticks maybe above that, and then comes back and fills me, that's fine. If it goes much above that, then I'm not I mean, if it goes 20, certainly if it goes 20 plus 24, 25 ticks, which is halfway to where I would be wanting, going to break even, and it then comes back, then I'll just cancel the trade, cancel the order. Okay, let's see if we can get a push through here. And quite often when I sort of put a my sort of level that I want to get in at with momentum, say at 21, and you can see where my stop is at 83. Quite often price will seem to sort of chop around within those two levels before. I mean, if price goes much below 83, then I'm not interested in buying at at sort of 21 if it immediately shoots back. I mean, it can go down there and sort of go back up towards 21. I mean, that's it's actually building the sort of the fuel it needs to sort of fire it through. I mean, it can do that a few times, but if it trades much below where my stop would be, then I'll just cancel the trade. I'm just sort of watching the the action on the dome. We've sort of it looks to me as if we could get into a trade here, take out the highs of the day again. Every time the sort of price is dropping down towards where my the sort of the figure level, it's sort of bouncing back sort of quite quickly. Okay, here we go. We haven't traded we haven't traded above the 21. Okay, we traded above it. We're there at 21 as the limit. I'd like to see this sort of just get filled sort of now really before we shoot high, and we can see already we're already 20 plus ticks away from where I wanted to get in. I'm just gonna have to cancel that trade. So that's that's a good example of, unfortunately, we've missed that trade. What's it gone? Okay, it's gone 26 ticks. So I mean, we wouldn't have reached a profit, and the way it's come back down now, it looks as if we would have been a sort of trailing stop, if you like, at 6 ticks. We would have been stopped out. So we haven't actually missed banking any money there, although the trade was a if you'd as I say, I just use that sort of 24-25 ticks as a sort of halfway to the target. So that's $100, but I wouldn't have taken that as a $100 trade. So we haven't actually missed anything. So now we wait again. I mean, it can be frustrating to miss trades. Okay, we're going to go for, looking to buy again. I mean, we're looking to buy only a few ticks off the highs of the day there. But as we can see now, price is sort of moving back down to where my stop would be. I don't want to see it trade much below there, a tick or a couple of ticks maybe. But if it sort of rotates between the sort of lower, the area where I've got my stop at 07 and the highs up at 45, if it rotates between there, whether it's once or twice, that's actually quite good for me if we then get taken into the trade on the long side, because it's whilst it's been doing that, it's been building momentum, building fuel to go one way or the other. I mean, if it does that and then falls down to the downside, goes through that sort of 70.05, 70.04 level, then I would expect to see quite a quick move. Okay, we're possibly getting in here. We haven't traded at last trade at 41. We haven't traded at 45. The offers was at 45. I think they're slightly below now. Yeah, so as I was saying, I mean, if it rotates between my sort of two price levels a couple of times, and then whichever way it goes will probably actually be a decent trade, hopefully. But I'm only going to take it to the long side. It's not an either or. I'm looking to get long at that level. I don't see a reason to get short, but it would just stop me, but it would stop me getting long. So I mean, as we can see now, we're down to sort of where my stop will be if it trades, as I say, a few ticks under that 07, so sixes, fives, fours maybe, then I would be okay if it comes back from there quickly. If it spends a lot of time down there, then I think the odds probably of it breaking hard and me having a successful trade is smaller. But this is one of those trades where we're going to be buying fairly near the high of the day. Which makes can make you feel uncomfortable. You've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Trading is a lot of the time you feel uncomfortable. You have to sometimes. It's the old adage, you've got your monkey screaming at you, don't do this, don't take the trade, don't take the trade. But you just have to sort of calm that inner voice, if you like, and think, well, my plan is to take the trade, I'm going to take it. So as we can see here, we're now sort of just trading at a hasn't sort of traded much below there yet. Okay, it's now trading a couple of ticks below. Let's see what happens. I want to get it out of here quite quickly for me to be sort of still stay with the long side, or the potential long side. We can see here the last price traded, we've got bids above this. This is looking quite good. Okay, let's see if we get a fill. We had bids sort of coming in there above the last price, that had traded quite, several ticks above it. Here we go. Having said that, still no fill, and we back off. Okay, maybe this time. Okay, we're filled. Quite a wide spread here at the moment. So we're long one contract. Three ticks off the high of the day at the moment. I mean, to be honest, I was expecting once I sort of got filled, I thought we might have shot up a lot quicker than we have done. We're only a couple of ticks, and we've only sort of gone a few ticks above my price. When things like highs or lows of the day often that's where you're going to get good stop runs. You're going to get new traders getting on board. Not all the times. We, I think, yesterday I think we actually dealt within a couple of ticks of the high of the day. There was no sort of follow through. When we were getting out of a trade, and it doesn't always. And again, things like round numbers. A lot of people think, oh, every time it's a round number, it's going to, if it trades one tick above a round number, it will, suck new people in it. And sometimes that's the case. I mean, I certainly know that. When I was trading dollar yen, quite often, the strike for the option strikes were always, important at round numbers and at the 50 levels. But in terms of futures trading and what I'm doing here, then I don't sort of take that into account. So my, so I've got to take profit in order it'll be at 96.51 ticks, so just ahead of the, the next figure. So I mean, it doesn't bother me that it's ahead of that, or whether I should have it above it in case it runs through it. It's just, I mean, I can, as we, if we get to that level, then I can, possibly adjust it. But sometimes things, as I say, just move too quickly to do that. So it's just a question of being patient, sitting at the moment. Long one contract. I mean, we haven't spent too much time below our entry, so that's encouraging, I guess. Okay, now we've got some bids coming in, above the last, the high of the day. So this might give us the sort of first flush through. We'll at least get our stop. Okay, there's the stop lock moved up. Now it's just a question of seeing if we can hit the target. So we're at 96. I mean, sometimes the spread can be quite wide on the RBOB, and so the danger is if you trail your stop too tightly. It only takes one tick, one trade, and then if you get any slippage, and you can be stopped out before, and out of the trade. I mean, I'm saying if I trail my sort of trailing stop, if I decide to trail that too tightly, and then it reverses and goes to the target, so you make 10 ticks when instead of 50, and it things like that over time. Okay, on the odd occasion, sometimes you might think, oh great, I've got to have a 10 ticks because it never got to my target, and I've made something out of it, or 20 ticks, or 30 ticks, or whatever. But over time, if you've based your trading system on reaching a specific point, then you have to let your trades reach that point. If it means giving, you're never going to get all of the move, you're going to give back, profits at some point. But you have to let the sort of, let the numbers work for you. Okay, so we're about, sort of 25 ticks away from the target or so at the moment. Let's see if we can get a good move higher. Now I'm just going to drag up. Okay, we're done. Filled 96. Don't think it went much above 96. So we're check down the sec. So we're square $400, 428. Take off your commissions. First two trades, two winning trades to the long side. Now it's just a question of waiting for the next trade. So 428 total. Just set that to the open ticks, ready for the next trade. So we had a profit take in 96, and we can see it's it was hit in the blink of an eye before while he's even just thinking about changing anything, and filled at 96, and the high was the figure. So we sort of got a pretty good profit take out of that move. Okay, we haven't done any of my, I stopped the recording, and we're back. We'll see the P&L will be the same as it was before. When I show that. So we haven't actually missed any trades, and we've sort of come off that that high quite quickly. It's been a sort of I say not overly quickly, I guess. I mean, it's been a bit of a just a sort of steady decline. Just had a bit of a bounce, but it looks to me as if we could possibly be ready to attack the short side. I mean, although I trade pretty much every day the same, I know from my own metrics, whether it's me, whether it's my execution, whether it's my method, there are variables between each day. Friday tends to be my worst day, and Mondays tend to be the best day, and so it's I'm not I mean, I will trade subconsciously or consciously. I will try and trade exactly the same, whether there is any difference on the particular days. I mean, I do know markets can behave differently on different days, whether that's through, obviously, like for the energies, obviously the crude oil numbers on a Wednesday generally, unless there's a holiday when it's on a Thursday. But that sort of lunchtime, 10:30 time, obviously there's going to be some wild swings there. So I trade that differently. There's a few minutes where I'll stay out of the market, even if I get a signal. Even if I think there's a reason to trade, I'll stay out at that time. But certainly for I know from my experience as a bank trader, there were certain things. I don't really want to give too much away, but there's certain things that banks have to do, and not necessarily that they want to do in terms of currency trading. And so similar with with equities, certain okay, look as if we're getting a reasonable move here to the short side, so there might be a short trade coming up. They have to, with equities, people put funds to work on different days, different times of the month, different days of the week, etc., etc. So it's quite it's not unusual for markets to behave different, or have their own idiosyncrasies, for particular times of the day, particular days of the week, particular days of the month, etc., etc. But I just know that sort of Fridays historically for me, this year at least, is actually my sort of, in terms of dollar amount, the least profitable day. At one point, maybe 2 years ago, it was actually the best day. Again, I mean, I keep track of my metrics for every day, every trade, and then I keep all of the metrics for. So basically, it's obviously the number of trades, the win rate, win percentage, the net ticks that you've made, profit and loss ratio, profit factor, expectancy ratio, my edge percentage. I mean, some of these, you may not understand. You may not have heard of or may not know how to calculate, but my edge percentage, the CPC number, what I call a BBT number, my XPOP, which is the expectancy, and the opportunity ratio. Obviously, the expectancy in dollars, the expectancy, in opportunities per day, etc. So, and then what I also have is what I call a recovery meter, a drawdown recovery meter. I mean, a lot of educators and traders don't talk about the drawdown, but that's key really. You need to know what drawdown. It doesn't really matter what. Oh, sorry. The first, yes, of course, it matters what you're sort of making, if you like, but you need to know what your drawdown and what it's costing you to make that. How bumpy the road is. Certainly, when you want to have confidence when you're scaling up in contract size. I mean, for me, it's the same whether I'm trading 1 contracts, 3 contracts, 5 contracts, 10 contracts. It's because I'm all in or all out, so those metrics don't change. But if you are, okay, let's okay, we've got a possible short below 40s. It's trades below where we're offering at 40. We're filled. One short. Okay, well, one short 40. Let's see if we can get some momentum here. Okay, I might have jumped the gun a bit there. I don't think that was valid. Okay, I'm out. I just cancelled all. Cancelled all and flattened. I don't know if you really saw that. I was getting a bit carried away there while I was talking, and that's a prime example. That's basically a trade error. Okay, it's we got out for, I think we've got 5 ticks out of it, and it's now gone. As we can see, it's gone in our favour. If I'd held it, but if you're trading and you think you've made a mistake, if you think that you've done an error, okay, I mean that trade now we would have we would be down towards the profit target. We won't be there yet, but we'd have certainly possibly have got something out of it. But it was an error. It was an error on my part. I was just sort of rambling a little bit. Wasn't quite on top of it, and I got in basically too early. I mean now okay, it would have been a winner, but if you make a mistake, don't sort of hope and think, oh, okay, I'll just leave it. Maybe this one, sort of fate, if you like, that I've got in here. In my experience, if you make a mistake and you realise it, you just get out of it. You take, if it takes a small loss, whatever the loss, you take your loss. If it gives you a profit, you just take it. Put it down to experience one of those things. Errors happen to to everyone. Okay, I'm going to try. Now we've seen the market go down and come back up. I've actually sort of put a limit order in as to where I want to get short at. I mean, of course, with limit it may not get filled, and in which case, we've missed the trade completely, or missed the correct trade. Okay, we filled at 20, short one. Yeah, so I mean, whilst we're in the trade, it's easier to talk. I mean, there's not a lot I have to do with it, but as I was saying about drawdown, it's very important to know how bumpy the road is to get where you want to get to. The end result of X amount of dollars or X percentage is, I mean, if you make 50% return, but you have an 80% drawdown, that's going to be very tough. If you have a 30% return, but you have a 5% drawdown, obviously less return, but far easier to trade and stick with and size up, etc. So we're just watching this short trade. Obviously, we haven't. It's mostly been underwater since we got in, but we shall wait and see. Okay, there's a stop there. I mean, we are approaching that. Should be at 60. Yeah. It does look as if we're likely to get stopped out of this one, but the offer's just sitting there, and we'll see what happens. I mean, as I say, I mean, if we're just going back to mistakes and getting off tilt, I mean, one of the things that can kill traders is they might be having a good day, might be having a good week, good month, and then all of a sudden they just have a day where they just lose it, basically, for want of a better word. They just go off, they just go crazy, they just start gunslinging, they don't stick to their plan. And of course, the worst, if you do it on a Friday, it's even worse, because you've got the whole weekend to think about it and beat yourself up over it. So so Fridays, maybe I am a little bit more cautious, I guess. It doesn't bother me. I have losing Fridays. I mean, that doesn't bother me. It's if I have a losing Friday, or any day, I guess. If you have a losing day where you haven't done what you should have done, your execution's been poor. They are the things that can really sort of eat away at your psyche, your confidence, because they're the things that the bottom line, that it's your behavior, it's your actions that determine how successful you are as a trader, not your method, not your system, not what great charting platforms you got, or how quick your data feed is. All of that, whilst it's they're tools, and it's great if you've got good tools, but okay, we're stopped out there. So we're square. Just brings the profit back down to 268 before commissions. So all those things are good tools, but if you don't use the tools wisely, if you don't use them correctly, if you don't execute correctly, that's what will destroy. I mean, people, I see and I hear traders and they're begging, which is the best platform, which broker offers, this commission or that commission, and they're scraping it. Commissions will, if you're a good trader, you know, you'd be prepared to pay commission. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't try and minimise those costs, because it's basically every cost you can minimise is an extra, goes in your profit column. But paying an extra few cents on a trade is not in the long run going to determine whether you're a successful trader or not. You've only got to look back several years as to the commissions people used to pay, and how much they used to pay for data fees and for charting platforms. And now you can get really good tools, if you like, for either free or for minimal outlay. Computers, they don't have to be the latest, they don't have to be mega powerful gaming machines with multiple monitors. I mean, I'm no tech geek at all, but good processing, good RAM, I mean, that's all you need. Okay, so now we just wait. That short trade didn't work. It was an outright stop. Okay, in the previous trade, obviously we got stopped out at. Now we're just waiting for the next trade. We were short, a little bit of a bounce, and now it looks as if we're going to be testing the short side again. I've got about half an hour to go before I sort of finish for the day. Okay, looking to, I think we've got a short trade coming up. Just got to get the level. Okay, got to sell stop limit at 87. We're approaching that quite quickly. See if we get through it. Get a quick fill. Okay, we haven't traded below it yet, and bids are coming back. Okay, that was quick. That was a real quick spike down and fill. That's so we're one short. I mean, that apparently went down to 76. I mean, that was a blink of an eye, that move. And immediately we're sort of approaching the stop. We're seeing quite sort of wide moves at the moment. So we've just got to, we'll just keep trading as it is, but we've just got to be aware of that. The way that short was filled immediately. We didn't get stopped out, and we're now okay. We're still a little bit underwater, but that was a particularly jumpy at the moment, and then the spread seems to have widened a little bit. I don't know if that's just the time of day or if something's. I don't watch any news feeds. The price reaction will tell me what's happening. It doesn't matter what, if I don't look at a news feed and try and interpret it to think that, that's going to make price go up or down or what have you. By the time I've seen the news feed, read it, digested it, what I think is going to happen will have happened, several minutes ago. And the price itself will tell me. So we're just sitting on this short. Hasn't given us anything as yet. Okay, we're just now we're just sort of pushing through into some profit. Let's hopefully see if we can get some momentum coming in. The stop hasn't moved yet, but okay, there we go. So the stop's moved, so we're at a break-even trade basically. So we can see the take profits down here. I think we're sort of at the 25 ticks, sort of maximum we've gone so far. So it's just a question of waiting. If it gets down to the sort of, I guess, I could say, well, if it gets to 30 ticks, I should trail this, the stop that I have up there by 10 ticks or what have you. But I'll probably just leave it and hopefully see if we can get the target hit. See, they're going to hit the target. Okay. I think we were one off the bid there, and it didn't. The price didn't sort of trade down there, and that's now we got these bids coming in. This looks, to be honest, gut feel tells me this is going to get stopped out. At 60, we're going to trade up to the 60, 61 where my stop is. It's just the way we were sort of down at sort of 30 odd ticks and didn't trade lower. Okay, here we go. And we're not out of it yet. The best offer was above where we were, but it didn't trade. But it looks as if maybe this time we're going to get out of it. And that's really just, but yeah, there we go. So we're square. That was really just the way price reacted from the low, and I guess in hindsight, there's the current P&L 289, giving a little bit. That's just from looking at the price action that thinking it's going to happen. It's just one of those things. So still got a bit of time, so we'll just keep waiting. Okay, looks might have a possible short trade coming up. Still 15 minutes or so of my sort of trading window, so we'll see what happens. Okay, coming down. See if we okay, I've put a sell limit in at 50. and we're the offer. I mean, the reason I didn't actually, okay, we're filled. So we're one short at 50. I didn't use a stop limit there because it came down pretty fast towards the level that I was actually looking to get in at. So let's just see. Hopefully that sort of quick momentum will continue. We're slightly up at the moment, but nothing's adjusted on any prices or anything in terms of the stops. And this could well be the sort of last trade of the day. Okay, we're at 20. Okay, we should just going to move that. The stops now. We've got to. What happens with the stop? Even if we get some slippage, it's basically a scratch trade. And I did just move the profit target down just a few extra ticks to see if we should get through the figure, if we could get some more sellers coming in, but it looks as if we're going to get stopped out anyway. Okay, we're out. Got some slippage there, but that happens. So that's a scratch trade basically. We've got about 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go. Okay, I've got want to get short again. I've got an offer in. We were the offer there. We haven't got filled. That's the danger of limit orders, and we can see price is running away a bit here. So if it comes in, as I said earlier, if you don't get fill and it goes, sort of 4, maybe even 10, 5, 10 ticks maybe, and you're against you, and then comes back, then I might, I'd leave it there. But that's you can see the profit up there, 277. I mean, that's the danger of limit orders. You're not, you're relying on someone else to get you in a trade, and as we can see now, it's even though we were the offer, we needed somebody to take it, and they didn't. So that's basically a missed trade now. So, it's no, it's no harm done. You miss trades, unfortunately. Whether whether that would have been a full win or just taking us back to as a scratch trade, it's it's gone now. You just have to learn, accept. It's and move on from it. It's not every. You're not going to get into every trade. Trading, or I'm not going to get into every trade trading the way that I trade. I should, possibly have another. It's right at the end of the. Okay, we're right at the end of the day here, and possibly should have had another trade that I haven't taken, but so be it. We've had a good week. I think we're up about $2,100 per contract for the week. So that's okay. And the statements will be on the website. So basically, I'm sort of done for the day now. We're past past my sort of cut-off time. So thank you for watching. Good luck with your trading. Trade well, and have a good weekend. I'll show you the total P&L for the day, no positions, and there we go.